Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to draw something and talk while I do it. Today's subject is Angkor Wat, one of the most awe-inspiring and mysterious ancient structures in the world. As I draw, I want to take you through what makes this place so endlessly fascinating to me. I'm going to be using charcoal, some blending sticks, a precision eraser, and a kneaded eraser to bring out the depth and detail of this place. I'll walk you through the process here and there as we go. I'm going to start by blocking in the general silhouettes of Angkor Wat. I like to always start with some willow charcoal to keep it loose and to lay out the major temple towers and surrounding structures. These forms are so distinct that lotus bud shape is instantly recognizable. My interest in ancient civilization started when I was in 6th grade. I remember a textbook had images of Machu Picchu, the pyramids of Giza, and the strange temple-like structure I'd never heard of, Angkor Wat. It immediately pulled me in. There was something mystical about a city overgrown by jungle, its towers peeking out of the green like lost memories. I remember being amazed not just by the scale of these places, but by how little we truly know. Angkor Wat felt different, not as mainstream, more enigmatic, and more dreamlike. Angkor Wat is located in Cambodia and is the largest religious monument in the world. It spans over 400 acres. That's bigger than some small towns. It was originally built in the early 12th century by King Surya Varman II as a Hindu temple dedicated to the god Vishnu. But later, during the 14th or 15th century, it was gradually transformed into a Buddhist temple, and it remains an active site of worship to this day. That kind of religious continuity is rare. It has seen empires rise and fall, survived wars, colonial occupation, neglect, and even looting. Yet it still stands, weathered but proud. The sheer scale of the complex is hard to grasp until you're there. Long galleries lined with bas-reliefs, towers rising like petrified flames, massive courtyards, and moats that mirror the sky. It was meant to impress not just the people of its time, but also the gods. The jungle almost embraces the stone. There's this poetic tension, the man-made trying to remain, and nature slowly reclaiming. What I find fascinating is how these ancient civilizations didn't try to dominate nature the way we often do now. They worked with it. Angkor Wat wasn't plopped into a jungle. It belonged there. The choice of location, near rivers, surrounded by vegetation, was deliberate, symbolic, and sacred. And the design itself is incredibly thoughtful. The whole temple is built on a raised terrace above the rest of the city of Angkor. Its main entrance faces west, highly unusual for Hindu temples, which typically face east. Why west? Scholars have many theories. One is that it reflects death. As the sun sets in the west, it may have functioned partly as a funerary temple for the king. Another idea is that it aligns with the movements of celestial bodies, particularly Venus, which was closely associated with Vishnu. Some even believe that Angkor Wat is a representation of the cosmos. Its 5 central towers represent the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, the center of the universe in Hindu mythology. The moat surrounding it represents the cosmic ocean. The concentric galleries could symbolize the mountain ranges around Meru. This wasn't just architecture, it was theology in stone, a sacred map. The entire layout, if you view it from above, mirrors a mandala, a spiritual symbol of the universe in both Hindu and Buddhist traditions. The idea that a building could be a prayer, a story, a cosmology, it's deeply moving to me. And it wasn't just about spiritual symbolism. The engineering is staggering. Angkor Wat was built without modern machinery. Stones were cut, moved, and placed with precision. Over 5 million tons of sandstone transported from a quarry over 30 miles away. Some estimates suggest that the temple was completed in just a few decades. That's remarkable when you think about the logistics, manpower, and organization involved. And then there's the hydraulic system, canals, reservoirs, moats. Angkor was a water city. Scholars now believe that water management was key to its prosperity, and possibly to its collapse. Here I'm using the kneaded eraser now to bring out some highlights along the top ridges of the towers, mimicking how light might spill across ancient stone. This kind of subtle lighting always makes me think about the way these temples would have looked centuries ago. We see them now as gray ruins, but in their prime, Angkor Wat may have been painted in vivid colors: reds, golds, blues, statues adorned with jewels, incense filling the halls, chants echoing through the corridors. There's even evidence that the Khmer people used polished metal mirrors to reflect sunlight into inner chambers, almost like an ancient lighting system. But not everything about Angkor Wat is fully understood. There are inscriptions and bas-reliefs throughout the temple, hundreds of meters worth, that tell stories from Hindu epics like the Ramayana, Mahabharata, battles between gods and demons, celestial dances, and detailed accounts of kingly exploits. Some researchers believe that there are still undeciphered messages embedded in the structure measurements that reference astronomical events, calendar systems, or even star maps. One theory suggests that Angkor Wat and the surrounding temple complexes like Angkor Thom and Ta Prohm mirror the stars in the constellation Draco. Others suggest Orion's belt, much like the theories around the pyramids of Egypt. It's tempting to draw parallels: massive stone structures and linked to stars, built in tropical jungles or barren deserts, all pointing to something beyond the earth. And then there are the myths. Some Khmer legends claim that Angkor Wat was built in a single night by a divine architect. Others say it was raised by giants. One particularly haunting myth involves an ancient Naga, a serpent deity who blessed the land and gave rise to the Khmer royal bloodline. There are even folk stories of explorers finding hidden chambers, trapdoors, or vast underground tunnels beneath the temple. Many of these remain just stories, but in a place like this, it's hard not to wonder. A few years ago, LiDAR scans revealed previously unknown cities and structures buried beneath the jungle canopy. Roads, canals, entire neighborhoods, hidden just beyond view. Angkor was not just one temple, it was a megacity, a network, a civilization hiding in plain sight. So why did it fall? That question is still debated. Some point to environmental changes, a series of droughts and floods that strained the water systems. Others mention internal strife, political shifts, or invasions by neighboring powers. Maybe it was a combination. Maybe it was time. But part of what keeps us fascinated by places like Angkor is that the answers remain just out of reach. And that invites storytelling, theories, and wonder. Some skeptics argue that we romanticize these sites too much, that we attribute too much mysticism and not enough human ingenuity. And I get that. But at the same time, I think the act of building something for gods, for time, for eternity, that in itself is mystical. These were people who believed their actions on earth could echo into the cosmos, that architecture was prayer, that beauty was divine. I'm adding some more texture now to the stone, tapping lightly with the blending stump to mimic the feel of lichen, age, and cracks. I want this place to feel lived in, not polished, not fake, something real, like it could whisper if you leaned in close. Drawing sites like this, it's more than an art exercise. It almost feels like a meditation, a way of connecting across time, of honoring the mystery. Because maybe progress isn't just about faster tech and taller buildings. Maybe it's about wisdom, integration, and purpose. The ancients understood things we're still trying to remember: how to build without destroying, how to live with rhythm, how to leave behind beauty. If you ever get the chance to visit Angkor Wat, I hope you take it. Photos don't do it justice. Standing there as the morning light hits the towers and monks pass by in saffron robes, it feels like the past never left, just shifted form. Thanks for hanging out with me on this journey. If you enjoyed this kind of drawing and storytelling format, let me know in the comments. And if you've got other ancient sites you'd love to explore with me, drop those too. Until next time, keep wondering and keep drawing.